Ripple news. Ripple's new Middle East and Africa HQ could be a big win for XRP adoption. What if the next big move for XRP isn't coming from a courtroom or a Wall Street ETF filing, but from a single office building in Dubai? Welcome back to XRP Future Finance, and today we're digging into something that flew under the radar for most crypto media, but could end up mattering a lot more than people realize. Ripple just opened a new regional headquarters for the Middle East and Africa, and the plan is to double its local team there. That's not a small detail. Companies don't double headcount in a region unless something real is backing it up. And in this case, 6 years of partnerships and regulatory work are finally converging into one announcement. Let's get into what's actually going on, why these two regions matter so much for XRP specifically, and what it might mean for anyone holding the token right now. So here's what happened. Ripple's new headquarters is set up inside the Dubai International Financial Center, the DIFC, which is basically the city's official zone for regulated financial business. This isn't Ripple's first time in Dubai either. The company opened an office there back in 2020, and over the 6 years since, the Middle East and Africa combined have grown into roughly 20% of Ripple's entire global customer base. That's a fifth of the company's worldwide business coming from this one region, and now Ripple is responding by putting more people on the ground to keep pace with it. Let's talk about who Ripple is actually working with here, because the client list says a lot. In the UAE, Zand Bank, the country's first fully digital bank, is already using Ripple's payment system. Control Alt, a digital asset custody company, is also on board, along with Guarantee BBVA, one of the biggest banking names in Turkey. Switch over to Africa and you've got South Africa's Absa Bank in the mix, plus Chipper Cash, a fintech that handles mobile payments for users across the continent. These aren't pilot programs or test accounts. These are established financial players choosing to build with Ripple's infrastructure. Reese Merrick, who runs Ripple's Middle East and Africa operations, put it simply when he said the company has seen real demand from local businesses for regulated blockchain-based payment systems. That kind of statement only gets made when the pipeline of deals already justifies the headcount increase. Ripple isn't guessing here. They're scaling up because the business has already been showing up for years, and now they need more people to actually keep closing it. Now let's rewind and look at how fast things have actually moved, because most of the real progress happened in just the last 14 months. On the Middle East side, Ripple got in-principle approval from the Dubai Financial Services Authority in October 2024, and that turned into a full license by March 2025. That made Ripple the first blockchain payments company to ever receive that license from the DFSA, which is a genuinely rare regulatory milestone in this industry. 2 months after that license came through, in May 2025, Zand Bank and a fintech called Mamo became Ripple's first regulated clients in the UAE. Then in June, the DFSA gave the green light to RLUSD, Ripple's dollar-backed stablecoin, recognizing it as an approved crypto token under DIFC rules. That decision opened the door for more than 7,000 firms inside the DIFC to potentially use RLUSD for payments and custody. That's a huge pool of regulated companies suddenly having a clear, compliant way to use Ripple's stablecoin. While all that was unfolding in the Middle East, Africa was building momentum on basically the same timeline. Ripple teamed up with Chipper Cash in March 2025, and by September, RLUSD had officially launched across the continent through VALR, South Africa's largest crypto exchange, and Yellow Card, which operates in more than 20 African countries. Then in October, Absa Bank became Ripple's first major custody partner on the continent. So in the span of about a year, Ripple was running 2 parallel expansion tracks: regulatory progress in the Middle East and operational rollout in Africa. And this new headquarters is really the point where both tracks meet. Here's where it gets relevant for XRP specifically, because these two regions line up almost perfectly with the exact problems XRP was built to solve. Start with the Middle East. The UAE alone sends around $43 billion out of the country in remittances every year, and Saudi Arabia adds another $36 billion on top of that. Combined, that's close to $79 billion a year flowing out of just 2 countries, mostly heading to India, Pakistan, and the Philippines. That makes this region one of the largest sources of outbound remittance volume on the planet. Africa's version of the problem looks different but points to the same fix. Sub-Saharan Africa has the highest average remittance fees anywhere in the world, sitting at 8.78%. That means almost $9 out of every 100 sent home gets lost to fees before it even reaches the person receiving it. And it's worse in specific corridors, since 6 of the 8 most expensive remittance routes on Earth, where fees go above 20%, are located in this region. These are exactly the kinds of fees and delays that XRP's cross-border payment model was designed to cut down. This is why doubling the regional team actually matters for XRP holders, not just for Ripple's business in general. More people working deals on the ground means more partnerships, and more partnerships means more chances for Ripple to actually turn on XRP-based settlement in these corridors. Ripple already has a product for this called On-Demand Liquidity, or ODL, which uses XRP as a bridge currency during cross-border transfers. But right now, most of Ripple's deals across the Middle East and Africa are settling in fiat, or in RLUSD, not in XRP. So the real shift happens if even one or two of these corridors switch over to using ODL with XRP. That's the point where demand could start showing up in actual trading activity. So what should XRP holders take away from all this right now? Honestly, the most accurate way to look at this is as groundwork being laid for the next 12 to 24 months, not something that moves the price this week. XRP only sees real demand once ODL gets activated at scale in these markets, and that hasn't fully happened yet. So if you're expecting a quick price jump off this headquarters news alone, that's probably not the right expectation to have. There is one trigger worth keeping an eye on though, and it's Trident Digital. This NASDAQ-listed company has put together a $500 million XRP treasury, with rollout plans specifically targeting African corridors starting around the middle of 2026. Trident has said directly that this liquidity is meant to support Ripple's ODL service in the region, which makes it one of the clearest links between this headquarters news today and actual XRP demand down the line. So here's the real thing to watch going forward. If Trident's rollout timeline ends up matching new ODL announcements from Ripple's now larger Middle East and Africa team sometime in the second half of 2026, that's when this whole story could start showing up in XRP's actual usage numbers. Until then, what we're seeing is licenses getting secured, banks getting onboarded, and infrastructure getting built piece by piece. It won't show up on a price chart overnight, but for anyone holding XRP for the long run, this is the kind of update that quietly matters more than most headlines do. That covers today's update here on XRP Future Finance. Keep an eye on those African corridor rollouts as we head toward 2026, since that's likely going to be the next real checkpoint in this story. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one.